Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to be working on some liner cutting. Recently found someone doing some stamps out of erasers on TikTok and thought that looked like a fun idea. Then, as you can see, I got a bit carried away with it. However, all of this has been in preparation to try and do some bigger ones. I'm not going to go too far today because I'm only upsizing to one about this size. So a little sort of like square one. I want to do a print of Sparks, one of my characters. Or in this particular case, a persona. But what I'm going to be doing her design up on, because I want to make sure that it does actually look good, will be, I'll do a digital version of it on here first, which I'll then trace onto the plastic so that we have a bit of a better option. I did also do some warm-ups this morning with making both of these. I do have the extra video of making this particular stamp, which I may or may not chuck in at the end. Though I will warn that I'm probably not doing it in the safest possible way. I did end up nicking my finger earlier today. So be more careful than I am if you go to do it yourself. Yeah. Anyways, I'll get on to that designing work. As I said before, I wanted to do my work on a digital medium just so I would be able to produce a neater result. I thought that by using cleaner line work to begin with, I'd have an easier time transferring stuff over onto the liner sheet. It did later not quite go as planned, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But as for this design, I was really happy with how she turned out. I thought it was really cute. The shapes were nice, the silhouette was nice, and I think there was a good contrast between lights and darks. That being said, a simple liner cut is high contrast, so... Okay, so I have my design of Sparks that I want to use for my print. I'll have to just sort of flip it around so that it'll print properly, and then get some baking paper and make sure the design is the same size as my stamp so that I can transfer it over. For this particular bit, it is sped up to double the speed, so no, I wasn't actually working this quickly. I also elected to do that because I decided not to use the speech in this particular section, because it was mostly just me getting really annoyed by things not staying where I wanted them to, which I assume wouldn't be terribly pleasant for people watching to listen to, so... yeah, you do see me have a bit of a moment with flicking things to the wrong thing and the iPad just being overly sensitive. That's really just because it's not an ideal tool for when you want to trace a design. I'd recommend a light box instead, not that I personally have access to one of those. But if you do, it is the better option. Yeah. Either way, I did eventually get through all of this, but you'll see things flicking around a few more times. This was when I just transferred the lead onto the liner sheet, but as you can see there was a bit... It didn't like my pencil as much as the erasers had, so I ended up switching to a black pen, which was both kind of a good and a bad thing. It did make my lines a lot thicker and easier to keep note of, but there were also a few issues with it not particularly liking the plastic at first, so it got a bit smudgy, and I was, after I'd gotten quite far into making this, realised I probably couldn't put my usual layer of green or coloured ink on the top to be able to see where I had carved and where I hadn't, so I'd have to just go at it as is. I managed, but it was a little bit frustrating, but again, it worked, so I'm not mad. But yeah, you can see me just tracing the main details, getting things a bit more solid. Some things did end up changing though, because I couldn't really see where I was doing them. You'll also notice that the orientation is not how I originally wanted it to be. That's because I realized I'm not using the tracing transfer paper, and I was using, what's it called, baking paper instead, which when I flipped it around to rub the lead on, ended up having it be... So my drawing on the liner was in the right direction, but the actual print would be facing the opposite way. It still ended up looking cute, but I was just a little bit annoyed with it. A lesson for next time, I suppose, but she still turned out fine, so it's all good. I also didn't actually end up shading in all of the black spaces like I should have. It still turned out fine, but it did make some stuff on finding where I had to carve a little bit annoying later on. But again, I was worried about the ink just smudging, so I was like, maybe I'll leave it and hope for the best. As you can see, where I've actually drawn lines is where there will be white space on the body of the dress. And this is where I start carving it. Speaking of carving it, this section of footage took about 50 minutes, which I thought was potentially a little bit too long, so I ended up speeding it up to 4 times the speed. So no, I did not carve it anywhere near this quickly. I think what's covered in about 10 or 20 minutes, actually I think 10 would be closer, was done in, yeah, about 50. Still quite a nice relaxing thing to do though. I do rather enjoy the liner. I think my main comments that I can remember making throughout this were that it was... the actual liner sheet was a lot easier to carve than the erasers were. It was just very smooth, it sort of felt like cutting through butter, and there was a lot less resistance. This had its own set of issues because I'm a bit used to something that has a lot less of a give, but I think when you see the end result, it made something I was really happy with. I will also apologise for the multiple times I have the thing slightly off screen or do something off screen. The way I had my camera set up, it was a little bit in the way of where I'd usually put my head. The good news is, this time that means I didn't film my scalp, so I'm fine with actually doing stuff with the video. But the bad news is that means I keep dragging what I'm working on off screen so that I can look at it closer to see it better. Here I'm just putting in some of the details on the dress. Once again, I have it where you can't actually see me doing it. But this is for what would usually be the yellow stripes on her outfit. Yeah. Anyways, I probably won't talk too much from here on out. So I guess enjoy my very questionable guitar playing, which will be the only noise you can hear for a while. We've now finished our design, so I've just got to coat up the paint roller with a bit of the ink. I've perhaps not chosen the most fantastic of surfaces to put it on, but I forgot to do her face. Oh no. Shit. Oh. This is somewhat upsetting. I'll just have to fix it in a second there. Oh. The rest of her is cute at least. Give me a few to sort out my mistakes. The good news is it came off rather easily and still left her face design, so I'll just have to quickly cut that out now. Should now be fixed. Let's have another go at printing. Round 2. She's a bit watery, but that's much better. There we go. No, I am quite happy with how this turned out overall. Yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. Hey guys, I've also set up a coffee shop, so if you wanted to support me in any way, it is sitting just here. I do also have things like my old sticker designs up if you wanted to get any of those. Or even commissions. I've only got some basic types up for now, but I will eventually update everything. Again, no pressure. Just if you want to throw a bit of money at me, I am more than happy to take it. Also, I'm planning to add the Sparks design that I did for the liner cut to my store when I've got the stickers in, because I ordered them recently. Can't really show you what they look like, but can't show you just yet, but they will be quite cute, I think. Thank you again. Have a nice rest of your day.